Story 8, The Ice Castle. The light in the sky glowed more and more brightly as Gerda pushed her legs to travel further and further. Her cheeks stung from the cold and the wind made her eyes tear. She leaned on the harpoon she had taken from Sedna, holding it with the sharp point facing down and using it to dig into the ice as she walked. Each breath she exhaled was suspended in a cloud of frost. She was so tired. Gerda noticed something ahead that made her stop in her tracks. From out of the frozen white landscape, there was movement, as if the snow itself was coming to life. Gerda squinted her eyes to see what it was. A large, white figure was walking straight towards her. She was alone. There was nowhere to hide. She raised the harpoon and held it out in front of her and yelled through the wind.
"Stay away!"
The figure continued to advance. Again, Gerda yelled.
"Stop where you are!"
Closer and closer it came. Gerda grasped the harpoon, her hands shaking. She was sure she would have to battle whatever it was that was heading towards her. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Just as she was about to yell another warning, she opened her eyes and there, standing 10 feet away, was a large polar bear. Its fur was pure white, its paws as big as Gerda. It hovered over her, and it smiled, a wide, friendly smile. Gerda looked up and said,
"Are you my friend, or do you wish to harm me?"
Hello, Gerda. I have been waiting for you. My name is Nikolai, and I will not harm you.
You know my name.
I have heard your story whispered in the winds. I know you've traveled a great distance searching for your friend, and now you have arrived at your destination.
I'm here? I've made it. I knew I could do this. Where's Kai?
I will bring you to him. Come.
Gerda followed the polar bear. He was so large it was difficult to see what laid ahead, but Gerda could see the lights in the sky becoming more vibrant shades of blue and white. The stars sparkled and the snow began to fall in swirls around them. Gerda stopped. She knew what this meant.
Snow bees! Nikolai, watch out! Those are snow bees!
They can't harm you, Gerda, while you are with me.
They continued on, the snow bees swirling in the air around them. Suddenly, the bees stopped high in the sky ahead of them. At exactly the same place, the bright blue and white colors of the sky stopped in point. The wind picked up, howling around Gerda and Nikolai, like screaming whispers in the night. It grew louder, and there was an enormous flash. Gerda shielded her eyes, and when she looked again, there in front of her was an enormous, majestic ice castle. It sparkled at every point and was almost translucent. Gerda looked to Nikolai.
We're here? Kai is inside?
Follow me.
They walked across a drawbridge made of ice into the castle. Gerda saw hundreds of large frozen sculptures made of stone all around her. She slowly walked around them, mesmerized by the intricacy of the ice.
Oh, look at all these statues. They're beautiful. But wait, these aren't statues. These seem like real people.
These are the humans the Snow Queen has collected. She brought them here and keeps them safe. They can no longer harm themselves nor others. They are frozen solid in time forever.
But there must be a way to help them.
Their loved ones turned away when they needed them the most. Now, all they have is the Snow Queen.
No one is looking for them? They must have people who missed them.
They are but a memory. Their loved ones didn't find them before the spring sun arrived, and now they are frozen forever. But you, Gerda, you had hope for your friend. You believed in him.
I would never give up on Kai. Where is he?
He is here, amongst the statues.
Gerda ran from person to person, feeling the icy cold on their arms, their hands, their faces. Old men, young women, mothers, children that looked the same age as her.
I'm so sorry you are here. I don't think your friends have forgotten about you, really. I think they just didn't realize it was possible to find you again.
She looked at so many faces, held frozen in time. Gerda stopped feeling sad and began to feel mad. Mad that the Snow Queen would take people away, she ran faster and faster from person to person, and then she stopped. Right in front of her, covered in ice, was Kai.
Kai? Kai, it's me. Can you hear me? Can you tell I'm here? I found you. Oh, Kai, I will help you.
You cannot help him.
Gerda spun around to see the Snow Queen standing atop the staircase. Her snow bees swarmed around her, and she held a large white scepter in her long fingers. She stared at Gerda and hissed,
Leave my castle.
No, I won't. Not without my friend.
Nikolai the polar bear ran to hide against the wall as the Snow Queen began to descend the staircase. With every step, the snow bees followed, and Gerda noticed that the Snow Queen's feet didn't actually touch the steps. Rather, she hovered over them. It was like she was made of frosty air.
Your friend belongs to me. He is filled with cold and darkness. He does not belong in your world. He is mine.
No, he is good. You have cursed him, and I can't help him. I can't bring him home.
You, girl? What makes you think you could help him? Are you stronger than me? Do you have forces greater than mine? You should have stayed with the old woman in the garden. She would have taken care of you, loved you, but you had to keep looking. I don't want you here. I have no need for you.
Then let me have Kai, and we'll go home.
Go home? Why, Kai is home now. He doesn't want you anymore. Don't you remember when he yelled at you, and pushed you, and told you he didn't need you anymore? You should have listened to him.
That wasn't the real Kai talking. Something was wrong with him.
Your friend's heart has turned to coal. Dark, cold, and evil. He only sees the darkness in people. You certainly don't want him back.
I do.
The Snow Queen was now so close Gerda could see the frost on her long eyelashes and the clear, cold blue of her eyes. The Snow Queen leaned in, and with an icy breath she hissed.
You cannot have him.
Gerda quickly lifted up the harpoon from behind her and jabbed it towards the Snow Queen. She was shocked to see it flow right through her. Gerda was amazed. The Snow Queen was made of wispy air. Gerda dropped the harpoon and ran to Kai.
Kai, I believe in you. I love you. You are my friend. I have come to take you home.
It's no use, girl. He's mine. I collect one human each year, and when the spring sun touches my castle, the human turns from ice to cold stone.
Gerda threw her arms around Kai and hugged his cold, frozen body tightly to hers. Over time, the ice began to melt from her warmth, and Kai collapsed to the ground.
Kai, you're back.
No, get away from me! Get away! Wait, Gerda?
Kai, it's me.
Kai reached out to Gerda, and she hugged him tight. Then she wrapped him in the furs. Kai shivered, but he looked to Gerda, and he smiled. From the corner of her eye, Gerda noticed a bright golden light shining through the windows. She looked up and saw that it was the spring sun. Nikolai, the polar bear, stood at the window, holding the black shroud of fabric that had once covered the window.
What is this? What have you done?
I cannot let you go on with this. The girl has traveled all this way to save her friend. She's the only human to have reached your castle, and she has brought the warmth of the spring sun. She has saved her friend. You must let them go.
The Snow Queen watched as Nikolai ran from window to window, pulling down the curtains and exposing the inside of the castle to the sun. The Snow Queen, desperate to stop Gerda, raised her scepter above her head and looked directly at Kai.
You stay away. You can't have him.
You can't stop me.
A ray of light burst through the window and hit the tip of the Snow Queen's scepter. The warm light caused the scepter to burst into a million pieces of ice. This force caused the Snow Queen to stumble back, and she was enveloped in a swarm of bees, who protected her from the heat of the sun. The Snow Queen tried to reach out to grab Kai, but the snow bees held her back, knowing that if the sun hit her, she would evaporate forever.
You, leave my kingdom. You are no longer welcome here. There, take them away from me. Be gone.
Nikolai jumped down to the floor where Gerda and Kai were huddled together. He crouched down and they clambered onto his back. Gerda grabbed a handful of fur to steady herself, and Kai held on to her waist. Nikolai ran as fast as he could and leaped through an open window, landing on the snow outside. Gerda looked back and could see the Snow Queen scowling at her as the snow bees swarmed all around her. The bright sun filled the castle. As they rode further and further away into the icy tundra, Gerda could still hear the Snow Queen's evil laugh in her ears, becoming more and more faint over time. It still sent shivers down her back.
You have made her very upset.
She has no right doing what she does, taking people away from their loved ones.
It is what she has always done, but you were the first person in many, many years to find the castle and save their friend.
What will she do now?
In the morning she shall set out again, searching.
What if she comes for me again?
You just be sure to stay out of trouble, to keep your loved ones close, and to keep the light in your heart shining bright, like the lights in the sky.
Gerda held on tight to Nikolai, and she felt safe atop the polar bear, with her best friend safe behind her. They traveled on through the night. Gerda was about to drift off to sleep when Nikolai stopped.
This is as far as I can travel, children. I must leave you now. You will find your path home.
We will be safe. We have each other.
The children jumped from Nikolai's back, and he bowed a graceful bow, then ran off into the white, snowy landscape. Kai and Gerda walked until they came to
the caribou, who carried them to the forest, where the crows helped them along the path through the tall trees.
As they waved goodbye, Gerda and Kai saw the cat at the edge of the field, and she guided them back to the old woman's home, where Gerda's raft was still on the shore of the river. They hopped aboard and traveled all day.
Finally reaching the beaver's dam. The beaver jumped into the water and towed the raft back to the shore. Gerda and Kai ran as fast as they could through the town square, over the hill, and along the path to their grandmother's house.
When Kai swung open the door, there sat Grandmother, snoozing in her rocking chair next to the fire, her knitting and tea next to her as it was when they had left. Tenderly, Kai placed his hand on Grandmother's shoulder, and as she awoke, she looked up to him. A huge smile crossed her face, and Kai and Gerda knew they were safe. They were home.
Interaction School of Performing Arts presents The Snow Queen, based on the story by Hans Christian Andersen and adapted by Interaction's Advanced Performance Company. The Snow Queen was edited by Ryan Brown with music by Chuck Teed. The Snow Queen is supported by the St. John Community Arts Board. The Snow Queen features the voices of Alex Sullivan, Valerie Cullinan, Catherine Gray, Grace Maloney, Cam McCarthy, Ethan Lord, Will Gallant, Bridget Jacobsen, Jesse Coffin, Alex Hawkins, Savana Somers, Charlie Clements, Ashley Sears, Mikayla Hanlon, Ivy McCaffrey, and Quinn McElman. Thank you for listening.